favorite streamers. And I just realized I was not recording, so we're going to do that opening again. I'm sorry, guys.
Nice. Yay!
It's alright, I'm recording now. Okay, let's try this again. Take two. Hello and welcome to episode number 50 of Girl Streamers. Girl Streamers is a podcast bringing you the girl streamers that you know and love. Girl Streamers is a community that supports and promotes girls that stream. We are a bi-weekly podcast and we'll be introducing you to some amazing girl gamers and allow you, the viewer, to get to know some of your favorite streamers. My name is Nymphadora, and I will be your host during this podcast, and tonight is a very special podcast. We will be featuring all of the management team within Girl Streamers. We have Dead Mannequin, Carice, Kink Nightmare, Miss DJM, and, of course, myself. This is a live podcast, but we will be available for download on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and YouTube. So, ladies, what is up? How you doing?
Awesome conversation just before this whole podcast happened, so that was fun. Fun getting together with everybody.
I feel like I shouldn't have a green screen. Everybody has something going on and with them in their backgrounds.
I know. So I am that person that gets super nervous and then I'll trip and then there you go, we're done. I'm not nervous anymore. So that was the virtual tripping for me. Don't know why. Like, as I hit the play button, all of a sudden I felt butterflies in my stomach for some ungodly reason. And I've been doing this podcast for 2 years now.
Right, so let's talk about, like, the very first podcast that you had was with Dead Mannequin, was it not?
It was.
Yeah, how did you feel the moment you hit, or just before you hit live on that podcast?
Much like this, actually. Much like this. I know that Dead was super nervous. Do you remember that podcast, Dead?
I do remember. I wanted to die, really. It was horrible. The feeling I had, oh my god.
I'm sorry.
And we are streamers. We do go live all the time, but you know.
Well, not only that, like, think about our jobs as well. Like, we're in front of people all the time. Like, it's not something that's uncommon, but such a weird thing that once you're in the spotlight this way, especially in a podcast or an interview, it's butterflies in your stomach. It's crazy.
Exactly.
So weird. Like, I don't normally get butterflies with the other girls, but
Yeah.
I guess because this one is, for me, this one's really special, and it's
special.
gonna be, because this is 50 podcast. This is huge for me.
Amazing.
This was
High
one
five,
of
girls.
yes, high five. This was one of the first podcasts that I ever did, and it's the first one that I've been able to keep going. And I love it because I love getting to know all of the girls. I love the girl. We actually still have a lineup going into, we're into October. No. We're into November for this year.
Yeah.
We are already in November, and we always take a break for the holidays because it's really hard to schedule all of that around. So I've got one more podcast I can schedule for this year, and then we'll be starting on January.
That's amazing.
I know!
I mean, we're going into year 3, guys. We're going into year 3 of this.
It's so crazy. But, so, this format is going to actually be a little bit different than the normal format I do for the podcast. Usually it's I ask, you answer, and I'll have a follow-up question, basic interview format. However, I have just a small amount of questions that I think will be really good questions for all of us to discuss. Some are specifically geared towards Dead, just because this is her baby. So I do have some specific questions based around that. But other than that, I'm going to actually have it open for the channel, and I know that we've already got quite a few people in here, so I'm about to open up our Q&A format, and so I want questions from you guys. I want to hear what you guys want to ask us questions, what you want to know. We are here to answer to the best of our ability. There may be some questions we can't answer, but that I want to know what you guys actually want to know from us, because we don't always get this opportunity to do that. So, yeah. So it is open. If you type !podcast, you will be able to, yeah, get the form.
Should be already there. Yep. I opened up responses so people can actually submit.
Oh, you did it. Oh, perfect.
Yep.
You are on top of things. I agree. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Because I agree and appreciate at the same time, because that's the thing.
Love it. It's a new thing. Definitely. Make it a t-shirt.
We have to make Pufflecopter a t-shirt, and now we have to make Appreciate a t-shirt.
That was so good, by the way. Thank you guys so much for joining us yesterday on the community night. Uno was a huge hit, I think.
That was a blast.
Really fun.
Yeah.
I loved Dad's reaction to some of those. Oh, God, that was so great. That was a lot of fun. So, Dad, the first question I actually have for you is, what was your sole intention for creating GirlStreamers when you started this community? What was your... What drove you to create it? Like, what made you want to create this community?
Well, when I first started into Twitch, it was like a whole new platform for me, and started going on Twitter as well. So first the whole gaming community was open to me, and I was looking and looking and looking, and I was seeing so many male streamers, and I was like, where are the girls? Where are they? We must have like the girl streamers. And I looked at the time at the top streamers. They had like an option where you can filter males and females. And I said to myself, like, I want to do something like this, but somewhere when we can talk to each other. So that's when I started to invite all of you guys on Twitter.
I remember.
Yeah. It started like just I wanted to have somewhere to talk and with girls about gaming.
So, do you think that what we have I mean, we're in year 2. Actually, kind of more like 2.5, because we kind of started before.
Coming up to 3. Yeah.
Yeah. So, have we accomplished that? Do you think? Have we created that?
Totally, and it is much more better than what I.
That's that makes me so happy to hear. Okay, good. I'm. Thank you for helping me with audio. I wanted to make sure the audio is balanced. I had to turn you guys up a little bit and turn myself down, because apparently I like to hear myself talk. So, do you think that there's anything that we have done or tried to do recently or in the past that just did not work, and I just couldn't get to it, and you're just like, yeah, we're just gonna kind of push that to the side? Like, are there projects that we just absolutely couldn't find a way, or do you think we've actually done a pretty good job at being able to pivot if something wasn't going the way it needed to go, or the way we had wanted it to go?
Some projects are still on the way. It's hard to start something to be like really good at the beginning. So we have so many ideas, but not always have the resources to do it.
Right.
So of course, like the review projects we have on Discord, we want to have our community guides to review stuff. I sent out pitches to many for over 100.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So no response so far, so I'm just gonna have to try to do it differently and try to approach them like on an individual instead of sending it to the company. Try to find that person who runs like the media or a partnership, or like it's a long time. It's hard work. It's a lot of research.
That it is. It really is. And so when you are actually doing these pitches to, you know, these people, trying to get, whether it's, you know, Galaxy Girls or sponsors or partners or whatever, because that's your main, that's what you focus on, is you focus on that, let's get us some partners, let's get us something to help us run this community. Were you expecting the community to actually be as costly as it is to run?
I was expecting.
Oh,
I
hold
was
up, hold up, my
expecting.
audio just went out. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
I was expecting, of course, that it's gonna be like some expenses to be covered, of course, but it's worth it. Totally worth it.
I agree, actually. I really
Mm.
agree. Are there, so, are there any things that, that's kind of, I kind of actually combined those questions, so I'm going to move on to the next question. So what are there any projects that you are really looking forward to work on for the future? Because I know we've got a lot in the pipeline.
Oh,
And we don't want to expose too much because we do
Right.
have that Twitch
Yeah.
panel coming up.
Right.
So yes.
we don't want to expose too much, of course, but the biggest project is still to get that Twitch partner.
Big time.
Yeah.
Because it is a milestone we have to accomplish. It is a project since the beginning. So yeah, that's the main one. We already have Discord, which is pretty awesome, and the other projects. I don't know. I wish I could make that affiliated Galaxy Girl thing going, but it's hard. We need a developer, someone good in coding. So if you are there, hit us up. We need help on this one.
That'd be great.
You guys hear
be
that?
So good.
We need a developer. We need someone who can code. So help us out, yo. Yeah. Also, Galaxy Girls, we want y'all to do things. Come on, help us out. I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding.
Well, we kind of have to tell them what we want.
I know.
Actually, I think this is probably a good time to pitch that cool idea that you guys were thinking about.
Well, I know that Dead has reached out for the blog because we are trying to open up the blog to the Galaxy Girls. So if you are a Galaxy Girl, we would love to have more of you ladies write for the blog post. That right now, I think all we do is put up, Kinky's put up a few things, I put up a few things, and we put up the Cosmic Bulletin in blog format every time we do that. But that's it for right now. We want to actually create that on Medium. We want to create more there. So we need writers, and on top of that, we want to have you girls do reviews, tech reviews, you know, whether it's Twitch, Mixer, Facebook gaming, YouTube gaming, you know, some kind of review there, game reviews, anything within, you know, our realm of what we do as streamers. We want you guys to do reviews for us, and you'll record it, and we will put it up on the Cosmic Bulletin as part of the show. So that's going to help you guys get more exposure, which is the whole point of our existence, is to get exposure and help each other grow. So that's another thing that we actually just discussed about implementing. So those are like the more specific geared questions I had for you, Dad. So I didn't have too many. I know you felt on the spot when I said I've got some questions for you, but so
Are we allowed to ask questions?
if you have,
think so.
do it, go ask.
No.
And she's like, no. And I was so close to being done with my segment, I consider quietly. So, ideally, where do you see us in 5 years?
Ideally.
Mhm.
Oh my god. In 5 years, that's a long time. We did so much in 2 years. So in 5 years, of course, we will have that Twitch partnership. I see a great headset company partnership as well. Like, I have a Sennheiser on the Logitech in mind. Would be so amazing. I love Astros, of course. I love Astros, but I will go with those company. Um, I would like to like get that money flow on a monthly basis so we can like spoil, yeah, all of our girls and the community also.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much it.
I'm glad you asked that because I meant to put that actual question in here and I forgot to put it down. So thanks for asking that question because that was going to be one of my questions. I was talking to the husband and he's like, "Oh, here you go." I was like, "Oh yeah," and then I got distracted and didn't put it in there.
Oh, I'm great at asking questions on the fly because I have another one. From the beginning, for you personally, Dowd, how has it helped you grow, being like creating this community, being a part of it, watching each of us, helping us grow individually? How has it helped you personally grow as a person?
As a person, it helped so much. I am indigenous, and as an indigenous person, we have like a really heavy history, and I am a really shy and close person. So speaking in front of everybody and being opened up to the world was a big challenge for me. So starting streaming helped a lot, and being in this community and being the leader, uh, it it made me grow so much and seeing all the great comments and everybody who's like really really loving this community, even the guys out there and companies, and I'm just really really happy.
That's awesome.
I like how you put leader in quotations.
I actually have a
Leader.
follow-up question for that answer. Did you ever think that you were a leader? Did you ever think that you were that kind of a person, that you wanted to do that?
Never.
You're probably one of the best people I've ever worked with as far as a boss goes.
Thank you. Thank you, appreciate it. Because I take it as a teamwork more than being the boss. You always call me boss, but we always make like this group decisions. So it's more like a team effort.
I like that. That's another follow-up question, actually. Do you prefer um, that format of us making decisions together versus you having to take it? Do you find that a little bit more stress relieving, even though we've all had moments where we're, sniping at it? I mean, we work together. We're going to snipe. We're going to argue. We're going to disagree. But in the end, like, we're all on the same page when it comes to this. Have you found any of that difficult or actually not as bad as you were expecting it to be?
Not as bad as I was expecting. Seriously. I don't think people would like me to tell them all the time, like, you need to do this. We're gonna do this way and not that way. I'm sorry, what you're saying is good, but I think my opinion is better. So this is how I would feel if I was the one making all the decisions. Of course, I would need to make a decision sometime when we are all like different. We all have different opinions, but that's part of the game, right?
Yeah.
100%.
Exactly. So, do any of you ladies have questions? Because if not, I've got questions that are good for all 5 of us to answer.
Oh, cool. And then, you know what? We've got some questions still coming in from stream.
Oh,
so
definitely.
we'll keep getting more questions. And then, yeah, go ahead. Open up to your questions that you have.
Did you have something? Somebody else keyed up as well. I thought, okay, no? All right. So, for y'all can answer this in whatever format you want, however you want to go. What's your favorite thing that you have learned so far along this 2-year journey? Like, what is your favorite thing that you have done, learned, experienced in the last 2 years being a part of GirlStreamers?
Hmm.
I'm like thinking.
I have best friends. That's
Yeah,
that's
it's
my
true.
favorite thing. Like
Aw.
all of you guys are. I can call you my. That's a big, big, big thing for me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get
I think
super
that is the
sad.
biggest thing.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Why?
Talk.
Why are you gonna
Oh
be
my
super
god.
sad?
When we see each other at TwitchCon, this is just gonna be a ball fest. We're just
I know. So I'm about to get super sad, but super sappy. But you guys are gonna love it. So you ladies were a part of my shitty 2016 year, and if it weren't for you four ladies, I would not be here today. So thank you for that. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to do this, and thank you for seriously becoming some of my closest and best friends. You guys know what I went through in 2016. All of you do.
Yep.
It was horrible, and it was nice to know that. I don't know. There was just something. I know we've only met a few. Like I've met Carice. I know Carice has met DJ, and we'll all see each other at TwitchCon. But there's this weird connection that really, really helped in 2016, and
Yeah.
I agree with Dead. I've made some amazing friendships from doing this.
And to me, that was a weird experience because I didn't think that was possible for people who you've never actually physically met to have those kind of relationships with. So once it sunk in that it doesn't matter, I could call you guys outside of GirlStreamers and just like there's such a connection between us plus some of the other OGs that we've met in GirlStreamers. Like there's so many GirlStreamers that for me, like Hugsy, Azealia, a bunch of other of the girls that we've met all through this community who have become super, super close. It's like, that's wow. Like some of the closest people in my life, GirlStreamers. Like,
seriously.
Wild. Still freaks me out. Still freaks me out a bit.
What about you, Kinky? You haven't talked much.
When I started overall, I didn't expect much on my end. And then to be pulled into this all together and have that kind of trust from people that would be paying attention was a pretty big deal. And then getting to know all of you beyond that, to spend my days with most of you routinely and a lot of people in the community all the time, and I'm just all over the place now. It's a lot for an introvert to go from not saying anything for months to talking daily and being seen daily and
being that shoulder daily.
Yeah.
No lie, Kiki's been my shoulder on many occasions, and Ashley...
Kinky is all of our shoulders.
Everybody's shoulders.
There's a reason why she got shuffled into the HR department, because she's good at that.
At the same time, I'm also grateful for Kinky's husband, because if we're not her shoulders, then it's gotta be on her husband, because I swear, I feel like there's some days that possibly Kinky like, I swear, these women today.
And she's like, my hard drive space can't even handle all this right now. Awesome.
I know. I can't tell you how many times I'm like, I gotta run this by you. I know this sounds tactless, but I need to have this conversation with so and so. And she's like, all right, well, you need to change that word to that. And yeah, that sounds really catty. You should probably not put that in. And I can't tell you how many times I am very, very tactless if I don't sit down and think about what I'm writing. Because it will come across extremely defensive, because I probably am a little bit defensive, and then it'll also come across very bitchy at times, especially if it's in text, I mean, and that actually brings
text
up
is hard to translate.
It really is. It really is. That actually brings up a question that is not on my thing, but Do you guys experience a lot of people making jokes about, oh, you gotta deal with a lot of drama helping run a girl community?
I've heard it once.
I don't think it's really a joke. I think it's almost an assumption because prior to this, I think I'm the only one that didn't reach out to text or on Twitter to join. I joined because I was
a story
recruiting.
about you. Yep.
I was recruiting for another group, another community, and somehow that got flipped on me. It got flipped on me here, and it was actually me recruiting Kinky.
Yep.
Oh my god, I remember that. I had forgotten about that.
So that got all flipped around. But going off of that, I think it's not really so much a joke as it is an assumption that I don't even think it just has to do with just a group of women. It's just that having a massive group of people in general that you deal with, and having so many conflicting walks of life, ideals, and it can be just the personalities don't get along really, really well.
Yep.
So
regardless of gender or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, agree.
Yeah, it's regardless of gender. So, I don't think it's a really joke. It's just amazing to have a community in which so many people, especially when even us as management, or as I don't really like the word management or leaders, but it's kind of what we kind of are indirectly. But we get along really, really well. We have our moments, but it's things that we can actually talk through. And there's moments where, like you said, the text doesn't have a tone, but inherently in your head you will put it there even though it's not the one. And so we have to have those meetings. They're like, hey, we need to verbally hear each other right now, because right now this seems like you're yelling at me, even though right now you're probably texting with a smile on your face like, yeah, that's okay. But that yeah is okay in your head is a smile. It can sound like yeah okay.
Yep.
You know.
Yep. It's very accurate, and that is, I have found, and I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I've found that has become, I have had to make myself go, this is business, you know, because we all live three of you live in Canada, and you all live in different places in Canada, and two of us live in US, and one of them is in Hawaii, right? Like this is
which is part of the US.
Farther apart. Yeah.
Right, I get that it's part of the US, but it's like a really far part of the US. So it's not in the continental 48. But
fine.
You're in your Harry Potter time zone. But it is really hard for us to all get together and do these things. So a bulk of our work, we do make it happen, but a bulk of our work is done through text. Have you found yourself having to relearn like some social cues via text because of that? Like, okay, I know this person, I know that they're not angry, so like you have to backtrack and go, okay, this is Kinky. How would she actually respond to this? Okay, she's not upset or anything. Like I have to go through that in my head so that I don't presume something and end up creating, this horrible crap show. You know what I mean? Like, does anybody else have to go through that, or is that just me? Does anybody else deal with that?
I think I might go a little bit the opposite way. Like, I always take a step back and make sure that reread my post, so that I know that any questions that might arise from it are already answered in that post. Or I just make sure that I have to step outside myself and say, how would Dad read this? How is she going to take this? How would Nymph take this? I got to step out. And so knowing you girls well enough now that I know, okay, so here's what I want to say and come across, and make sure that all the questions are answered before you have any. That's usually how I approach text, but still, I would much rather talk to you guys in person, anybody in person. I feel like you get so much more resolved, or stuff like there's just things you miss, and then it ends up becoming a lot longer conversation in text than it would be if you just had a simple conversation this way. I think we make it work.
I'm kind of the same. I'm kind of the same. When I read something, I almost kind of clock out my own personal thoughts and feelings on it. Like I just turn into a blank slate, because I don't know I can't go into it thinking that I know what the person's already talking about or what I'm feeling. Even if it is like completely like all right there.
Yep.
And it should be obvious, I still don't actually make that assumption. I just go under a blank slate and I answer it in as straightforward as I approach that I can possibly be without it having any like direct feelings, good or bad.
Yeah.
See, I'm so bad at doing that. I am so emotionally driven. I'm going to be honest. I am extremely emotionally driven. I work off of that gut feeling. Always have. That's just my personality. So I struggle with that. This is why, unfortunately, I lean to Kink Nightmare on a lot of stuff, because I'll read something and I'll be like, "Oh, Carice pissed me off," and she's like, "Hold up, chill out." Right? She's like, "She's not attacking you," and I'm like, "You're right. I am so wrong. You're right." And she always makes me see what Carice is trying to see, or what DJ's trying to say, or the like, or whatever. I just say Carice because it's Carice.
But I think that's how I approach. I think that's exactly how I approach people I meet for the first time too.
Same.
See, in person, completely different, because I can read people in person very well. But in text, I am horrible at it. I am so bad at it. And
That's universal. I think everybody's the same.
So
everybody's the same.
I think we do. I'd say we do a fairly good job. We try our best to look at it from that outside perspective, and be business and not take it too personally.
And on my side, it's always super simple and
exactly.
Yep.
Professional.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I have some more questions, but there are some good ones that have come in. So I actually want to ask the questions from everybody. That is from the questions that have come in so far. If you guys want to ask us a question, please fill out the form and I will get to them throughout the podcast. So Dennis asked a very good question, and I really like this one. Do we plan on doing any events or panels at other conventions in the future?
Maybe.
Possibly.
I think ideally that's what we want to do.
I mean that is a goal. I mean, who wouldn't want to? Period. And I feel that our community and us and any mixture of us are highly capable of it.
Yeah.
Regardless of what event it may be, I think we are so incredibly well-rounded that we could put on a good panel. No matter the topic it be. So yes, Dennis, we would love to.
I think that's actually that's a really good point that you brought up. Is if you look at this cast of girls right here, you have 2 white women, and then the rest of you are ladies of color. You are minorities, and I find that amazing. And we are all from such different walks of life that it meshes well, and it allows us to be able to see somebody else's perspective. And because we were essentially representing our communities in this small thing. So Kinky will be able to say, well, if you look at it from this perspective, this kind of can seem a little racist, or this can seem a little just undermining or whatever. Or from Dad's perspective, because she's indigenous, she's like, well, you're kind of excluding, you're excluding this. You're not looking at this, and blah, 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 blah. And the same thing with Miss DJM. And I personally find that one of the benefits of GirlStreamers is the fact that, of course, 5 people is not going to represent 1,000, but we try to do our best because of the fact that we are so diverse. We try to. And if you look at our demi-mods and our Babelfish, the Babelfish are literally other languages. You know what I mean? So, I think that's what are your thoughts on that particular thing about not just us, but the rest of the diversity within our management, and how we filter it down and hopefully do a good job with it? Yes,
I
Matrix
think
is the Babel fish.
we are good at trying to being representative of the actual like world. We have like so many language, and that was whose idea was it to have the babblefish?
I don't even
Was
remember
it?
anymore.
I think it was
Was it
Carice.
I think it
Carice,
was
right?
Carice, yeah.
Yeah. So like being on the inclusivity and representing like the girls in their group, it is a great work team. We're just like
I mean, we can answer to that, and I feel that that's true, but I think what is a good representation of that is how the community and how the members and how the women feel about it. I think that is what, like, we can do everything we possibly can to make that feel that inclusive and
Mm-hmm.
welcoming and really broad spectrum of walks of life. But really, what it comes down to for that confirmation that what we're doing is correct is how the members take it and how much they enjoy themselves and how
Right.
And how
comfortable
active they
they
are.
feel. Yeah, and
Yeah.
how active they are and how comfortable they feel to be a part of this community. Like I think that's our number one thing, that from the very beginning, once you're, you get that girl streamer role, we want people to be able to feel like, yeah, okay, this can be home.
Exactly.
This is where I can build friendships. And yeah,
yeah.
networking is great, but I feel that we offer more than just having this opportunity to grow your brand, but just to every member to be able to grow individually, to find friends, to find, like you said, lifetime friends, because you would never think that the five of us would be as close as we are. But like I see it, and I'm sure you guys do, that in the community you see people that are brand new, and then they're talking to like certain groups that speak to them and the people, and they're building friendships, they're streaming together, they're playing together, they're talking about life together. I think that is the biggest confirmation, at least for me on my side,
For
seeing that what we
success.
do, what we offer, yeah, is being successful and we're doing something right.
Agreed. Agreed. And ultimately, like that. I mean, that's what we want. That's what we're aiming for ultimately. So, we've got two. We've got another one from. We've got one from Miss Night Lobster, and she says, she asked Dad, "How many tattoos do you have, and what are their meanings?" What are they?
Ooh.
What are their meanings? I think you have too many tattoos to
I
actually
have
answer that question.
I have too many tattoos.
There's no
Like,
such thing. There's no such
Yeah.
thing.
that would be
The
an hour
few
long.
the few I can show you is this one, meaning I'm heartbroken. I have this Hello Kitty here. That was
Oh.
for
I
my
never
first.
saw that one.
That was for my first daughter, and I have a lot. I have my male unicorn here.
Oh, I love it.
I like how you pointed. He's a male. He is a
He's
male.
a male.
He's exactly a male unicorn.
Yeah, I have like way too many tattoos.
Dennis actually in chat says the first thing that caught his attention was the diversity of this community. So many positive ways to include people of all types of life, personalities, color, etc. So,
Yep.
and Dennis is an unofficial girl. Like, we've included, he's
He's
Oh,
included.
he is OG. He's
he
OG.
is
if
OG.
we're-
Yes.
Big time.
He actually did a girl streamer appreciation stream this morning.
That's amazing.
So thank you very much for that, Dennis. We really appreciate that.
You know, Dennis, you know who you should really talk to is this girl right here. You should talk to her about getting on the podcast. I think it would be amazing if we got you on the podcast at some point.
I don't know which way you're pointing.
Oh, this way. Hold on, wait. Let's see.
Can
Where's
you
my
sound
mic? There
like
we
a
go.
girl? Currently, it is not open to outside the community. However,
Surprise, surprise.
that might be something we could work on. You never know. I am like our next podcast is going to feature Maria, and we actually pre-recorded that podcast because she is in a different time zone. So I'm trying to work it where I can work with some of the other girls who are outside of the time zone who we can feature on the podcast, and we just record at a time that they can record. So yeah, I'm excited to see how that goes. You just don't get the Q&A when it's pre-recorded, but you still get the podcast. And it's a great podcast. I can't wait till that goes live. It was a really good podcast. So anyway, all right. Next question. We'll do one more question here, and then we'll go back to my weird little list. Give you guys some time to get some more questions in. Kimmy, that's the name they gave us. Just Kimmy. How do you go about looking for other girl streamers? And what are your expectations when looking for content creators? So I don't think we really look for girls anymore, do we? Do we actively
Well,
seek...
we have.
Yeah,
Yes.
sometimes we do.
Yep.
Well, I mean, it's different from the beginning of...
Yeah. it's
yeah.
very different.
That's what I meant. I'm sorry. I didn't mean like we don't go look for girls anymore. But it's definitely changed. So answer that, unless I want to talk about how it's changed. Actually, that's actually that's a good question. It's a very good question.
Yeah. So the process right now is more the girls will apply for the community. We had the website for years now where you could like fill up the form, and what we were looking for is that we were respecting the Twitch POS. So something that is too sexy and too like the booby streamer, that was a definite no. That's not the image. That's the image you want to break. To associate the booby streamer with the name GirlStreamers on the side of content. Well, just great speaker. Even if you don't have a camera, that's not a problem. I'm like open-minded.
If you build it, they will come.
Because I remember way back before that started, when Dead and I were looking at Google searches. So if you were to Google search girl streamers, we were on like page 3 at the bottom, and everything in front of that obviously wasn't our culture, wasn't what we were looking to portray or how we wanted girl streamers to shine. And now we're on page 1, and so when you actually Google girl streamers now, you'll see us there, and it's that. I think that was a really cool. Climb, and yeah,
I just like that we're breaking we're bringing to the forefront the fact that this has been that has been a stereotype for so long, and that's not an accurate representation
of everybody.
Right, it's not an accurate representation. Like, if we don't care if you stream that way, we just don't want that to be our focus here. Like, if you want to, there's nothing wrong with that, if that's what you want to do. But there are other people who don't do that, who are very underrepresented, which is why we pull away from that. So as far as actively seeking for girls, I know when I'm looking at, I peruse Twitch a lot, and if I see somebody, I'm like, hey, I think this person would be good. And so I'll message you guys in my chat and be like, hey, what do you guys think about this chick? Should I reach out to her? Like, it was completely different at the beginning, because Dead was doing it all at the beginning, trying to get it started. When did we kind of change a little bit as far as actively, like, consistently looking for girls and more to like what we do now, which is this girl
word-based system?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Word of mouth?
Yeah.
We changed that when Carrie's put up the website.
When Carrie's put up the website.
Yeah.
How long has that website been up? It's been a while now.
Like a couple months after Discord, at least.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And that website has gone through so many changes.
We had the first website that I built, which was horrible. I am not a web designer.
But it had traffic, and it already had the bones, right? Like, it already had everything that you needed there. So
it was
yeah.
very
We should have screenshotted everything.
We should have
screenshotted everything. Yeah. See how
We
far
had
we
the
come.
streamer of the week, and we had
Yeah.
all the girls with a picture and
Yeah.
a small profile with the links.
And I remember the
Great.
very first streamer of the week who was on the website before we transferred over to the new one was Kinky Nightmare. Kinky Nightmare was the streamer of the
That's
week that time.
right.
And that's when I was just like, she is awesome. She is so awesome. But I think you should answer as well, Kinky Nightmares. What do you look for as far as like girl streamers for the stream team? Because I think that might have been a two-part question. Like
Yeah.
the people that we look to recruit into the community, and also the people who we look to recruit on our actual team.
Okay, well, when I got the job, we
I know this is kind of
where the bar was kind of low.
Like how you're navigating this.
Aaron Gilbra says, remembers I'm a
no.
disappointment to Kinky. Okay, sorry.
And we as management didn't quite have our collective shift together either. Well, not to be fair, but
yeah. We didn't have the pool also at the time.
We didn't have
we were still growing.
We didn't have the talent pool to choose from.
That was when we had like what 100, 200 members maybe when we started this stream team. It was really small.
It was pretty small. As we've grown, we now have like the application process where I have to observe you for a certain amount of time to make sure that your quality is up there, that you aren't saying slurs of any kind, or you're, hiding your racist tendencies on your channel. Bringing it on over here. Just being a cool person, are very interactive with or without a active chat, because that's not always a thing that happens in general. And be able to work and roll with the tech issues that could arise, whether it's on your side or ours, and always be accessible, especially when you are supposed to be streaming. Like, communication is very big, and I try to keep in touch and watch everybody as much as I can and all of that. And we are currently going through the process of revamping some things, so that is why no one has been brought on for a period of time. And I think it's growing pains right now, where things have changed enough that we have to now reassess.
Yeah. And this is new for all of us. Like, this is a completely different type of thing to work in. This is a completely just like, we're kind of creating this on our own, where some things work, some things don't work, right? Like, this is like this. We're learning as we go with this whole thing, and so that that's a lot of work involved when you're doing something like that. And
I feel like more organized we can be, and the more technology comes out that helps us do this in an efficient way, will make it easier. It's just getting everybody on the same page.
See, we don't have our ducks in a row. We're just a squirrel at a rave.
Pretty much, yeah. pretty much.
I like that image.
I do too. I can
make
totally
it a t-shirt.
visualize that. That needs
if you
to be
ever
a t-shirt.
run
Squirrel at a rave.
Run
Squirrel
a
at a rave.
team of at least 30 people that you have to keep in contact with.
Yeah,
It is
essential.
a test in your will and patience
You have got those in spades. Oh my god.
To not get
See, this is what Kink does when we go to her to use her as her shoulder, and she's trying to word like this.
She's like, let me hold on.
Kinky likes to think for a while.
the
before she
process. The
responds.
process. Yes,
Yeah.
this is the process. You're seeing it right now. But it's to not be like
That face.
all the time. Just all the time. And and usually if I have to bring something to any of these other 4 people, they know that that's probably the face that I am making, if not even a more severe face.
Yeah.
Because
or-
at that point, if I have brought something to them, that means it's probably kind of put a kink in whatever I've done to try and navigate
Pun intended.
whatever someone's brought to me. So, you know, it's been a very big learning. It's been a very big learning process doing this job, and it's ongoing learning process. To be able to maintain your chill while dealing with so many different personalities.
That's true.
And
Actually,
I love
yeah.
all
That
of
is-
them. Don't get me wrong, but you know some of them
Mhm.
are not as on the ball as perhaps grown folk should be.
Yeah, Ashley.
Ashley,
Okay,
yes,
so-
Ashley.
What does
Aaron,
grown folks should
Aaron,
be?
Ashley, Aaron. We know. We're looking at y'all.
Carrie's. You too. There it is.
I think that's funny that you bring that up because I think I was the only one that didn't really
Yeah,
answer
Shazzy.
how we each grown in some way. I don't think I
Yeah.
answered, but the way that you,
You
put
didn't.
that, that's pretty much for me, compassion and patience.
Yeah.
Which is something that I did not
Yes.
have a whole lot of. Amazingly, is I didn't, and it was not because I didn't want to, but when you, again, I hate the word leader, I hate the word management, but when you work with so many women and you have so many different walks of life, it opens up your mind also to be more understanding about where we are all coming from. You don't know,
Mhm.
like you have our cameras and you can see us, but you don't see past that. You don't see past what you see on the screen. Like, for all I know, none of this is true. These are just examples. For all I know, that on the other side of Carice's door, her house could be on fire and she's in shambles and she's trying to like
It's
keep
true.
this
Calm demeanor. Look at
normality.
how calm I am.
But that can be for anybody. Like, you don't know
true.
the next person's problems, and so when you can look at different walks of life, it affects how you see your personal life offline too, because you don't know. And when I think a lot of us have a little bit of a weird stance on our bend an ear channel, but I mean, we had that because a lot of people have problems, and even if you don't want advice, just to be able to get that off of your chest.
Yeah.
Not only do we get to see, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one dealing with problems. When all we really feel is like, bad thing happens after another, and the entire world around you looks perfect. To know that you're not alone. To know that even if somebody even just says, "Hey, that sucks. No, I can be here." Even just that one sentence, those little words can help somebody out so much more. So it helps me become a more passionate person, to be understanding, to be patient, to know that not everybody is going to be on the same level as I am, and I'm never going to be on the same level as somebody else's, but to understand and just have the patience for them to work through something and to be able to be there to help other people work through it.
Great. That channel is a huge success. I'm like, whoever had come up with that suggestion as well. I know we came to an agreement and we designed that channel. I think it works really well, but wow, everybody who's here, who's in chat as well, who's using the channel, and I
It's
love even I might not have put as much of my bend and ear input into stuff, but I read everything that you guys write in there, and
yeah.
empathize, and
And
it's really cool.
I was probably one of the biggest proponents of not having one.
Yeah.
Just because
I was on board with you.
I was just because, and I will be honest. I have, I've read articles and stuff like that, and sometimes because social media can actually make it worse when you post. But I was really, what got me on board was the fact that we said we were going to purge it every Monday. I love that idea because it helps us move on. It gives us a clean slate, and it gives everybody that freshness of it's a new week. It's gonna be better. And I've seen so many girls just get help, and just by venting, it just helped give them that relief.
Feels good.
And I'm glad that I didn't make a big fuss about that. Because sometimes I can be really stubborn about things, and I'm glad that it turned out. Shut up.
No.
I'm glad that it turned out.
There's no shade.
I'm glad it turned out better than I ever expected it would, and I'm glad that you ladies are using it in a good manner and not, it's helping. I'm glad that it's helping.
It's helping more than it is. I mean, we can't be completely like everything's rainbow and sunshine.
Right.
We have had our moments. We can't put the spotlight that there have been moments where like questioning. I'm like, really? And that's another thing too, is the understanding part is we have to understand that we can't solve everybody's problems. We don't have the advice. We don't have the words. Not only are we not medically, we're not professionals for it, but even as on the level of being friends, there has to be that learning curve of being okay with like you just can't have the answers for everybody, and for some people that's really, really hard because it makes you feel helpless, and you shouldn't. It's just it
that's
sucks,
part of,
but as long as there's people willing to listen even if we don't have the answers.
And that's part of like that's another thing that it's like I empathize with everyone. That's why sometimes I don't read everything in the Bend and Ear channel, especially if I'm not in a good mental place, because I will want to help them, because I've gone through some crap, and some of you guys know, some of you who are in chat know the crap that I've gone through just in the last few years, and I want people to not have to go through what I've gone through. And so when I see people reading, it's like I want to fix it. I just want to fix it. I am so bad about that, and I have to remind myself that sometimes that's just what people want, is just that release, just that vent. So
and I think that just taking that first step of being able to talk about it, and you talked about social media. No, social media, Facebook, Twitter is not the place for it. We are in a community. What we talk about in that channel, it's gonna stay there. We are not gonna be talking about you or what you guys are going through, but anybody else. So this stays here. It's like very, very a closed space. So if you want to share, if you are scared to talk, well, it is the place. So that's always the first step of feeling better, going to, if you want to go to seek some help afterwards. So if you want to talk to like a psychologist or a psychiatrist, if you really need it, that's the first step.
You're gonna make me cry. That was so sweet, Dad. I'm gonna cry. It's so sweet, but it's very, very true.
Yep, and we have the links and stuff for that too. So we make sure that we send nobody, like Miss DJM said, nobody's a medical professional or a therapist here. Even if we do have, we can't claim to be all of that, but we do have the sources that we can send you to. But I think being able to come to a place and just vent and have it be heard sometimes is a really good first step. Yeah, I'm looking at your questions right now, and they're starting to roll in. Music Chick. Okay, she asked another question that we did cover earlier on. Music Chick, I think you came in. it says, where do you see the community in 2 years from now? And Missy DJM had asked about where do you see yourself in 5 years with the community? But if you want to answer again, where do we see the community in 2 years?
Raving.
Raving
with that
raving.
squirrel.
Raving and
Total
voguing.
raving.
Vogue. I need like a glow stick to vogue with. All right.
I have glow sticks. I've got like a box of them.
I am not
I do
surprised.
too.
Of course she
Yeah.
does.
Well,
They're
They're
really-
on sale. They're
I'm
on
surprised you
sale.
don't have your
Michael.
sniffy markers.
I'm surprised I don't have my sniffing markers. Look at her. What?
This does
They're
actually
right
smell
here in
really
arm's
good.
distance.
I have my vapor rub.
Did you want to re-answer that and rephrase it for 2 years?
yeah, do
maybe
you wanna-
just
How
just
about
sum it up.
Twitch
Better.
partnership, I know, is one of those answers.
Yep. Twitch partnership.
Okay.
I think there is on the horizon. Hopefully, maybe I'm not blowing up our spot. Let me know if it's okay. We do want to get some more teams and stuff going. I know we had a Destiny team that was started up in Discord, but we'll see more with that aspect. I
Yeah,
think.
those are things that we definitely we can't do. We've got to reach out to the community to help us out with that stuff.
Yeah.
We have a
Okay.
lot of initiatives that I think that
We
we would
do.
love to see happen. It's just a matter of time, financial, and it's just that work.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Making
We
sure
need-
it's good and it's a really good that people are happy to be part of it and they're committed and stuff like that.
Because all of us have a full-time job outside of what we do on our own streams and what we do in GirlStreamers. Kinky's a stay-at-home mom. That's a full-time job. So for those of you who don't think that's a full-time job, it is. And I work from home, so I am able to actually be responsive to a lot of people, but I work freelance here. And then the rest of you actually have places you go. I think you are also freelance, or are you freelance anymore, Carice? Because you stopped doing the wedding stuff, right? You do other things.
Yeah, no, I still do portraits and stuff like that. But
Okay,
it's,
yeah.
Not so heavy.
But
on
yeah,
that
you
side.
guys, like, we all have full-time jobs that we do. So on top of this, so yeah, we're extremely busy. We got a lot of stuff we want to do.
I don't think I ever not work. I don't know how to not work.
Same.
I don't.
Even when I'm in bed, I'm modding somebody's channel while I'm falling. I fell asleep last night modding Kinky's channel. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not
Do you want to
gonna
ask
my God.
do you want to ask the next question from
yeah.
Kimmy?
So Kimmy
Okay.
asked, Kimmy's coming in with some pretty decent questions. I'm liking it. So has anyone ever felt discouraged based on the overwhelming amount of popular girl streamers that receive a bigger following based on them basically looking like the front cover of a magazine? Not in a negative way. She said, I don't really know how to ask this question. I totally get what you're going with. And I think I think everyone is safe to say we've gotten discouraged seeing that perspective because it's a stereotype, right? It's a stereotype. Do you get discouraged? I
Here's the
do,
thing.
because I'm a
No,
fat ass.
not
I get
pers- no.
discouraged.
Not. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not conventional looking. I'm beautiful, but I'm realistic.
This one.
I'm realistic. My life. I didn't come into it. I knew why I was going to use the camera. I knew I was going to use the camera because it didn't look like most of the streamers that I had been researching before I started. And finding female streamers was a thing for a little bit because some of them don't use camera.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
some don't even use voice.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
well, okay, respect it. I get it. I totally get it, and I know that's exactly why I was going to use voice and camera, because there needs to be representation of something people don't normally see. So I knew when I did it the obvious would be the fat jokes, but I don't get that. I don't get that usually. It's usually the racism, and I knew that was coming because that's been in my just regular life.
Your life. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is way more condensed. It's more
Focus.
focused and can be very much more toxic.
100%.
Is that they can continue by making new profiles and coming at you at different ways. That was my first 2 weeks basically.
Holy cow.
So, you learn fast, and I understand why there's not many women of color doing this and then joining communities, because it seems like even though we have these faces here, finding more faces that look more like mine or Miss D Jams or Dead's is a little harder than Carrie's and Nifadora, let's say. And finding someone who could understand that side of it is still ongoing, I feel like. And I think that the people of color we do have in the community are probably still feeling that a little bit as well. And that's why I try to write and be a face as much as I can, but there's only so much that can be done, I feel like. But we also need allies. So that's why all of you are here. You know?
That was a very good question, Kimmy. So Kari said she doesn't feel. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Did you have more to add on to that?
No, I guess not.
Sorry. So I feel intimidated just with you ladies, but so everybody intimidates me because I have terrible self-esteem image. But that's me, not y'all. Did you said you don't really feel that discouragement?
Not from actually seeing other streamers say who made it, where I have never done that kind of comparison. It's just not in my makeup. I've always compared myself against myself.
Yep, I do that too.
Because I already know that the return on that investment, for me to actually invest any time in worrying about how somebody else got where they are or how well they're doing, really doesn't help me a lot, does it? So if I focus on myself, so it's a habit that I've got into just going through the years and getting older. So it's never something that's actually stood out to me.
You mean getting younger?
Getting younger, right? But yeah, so it's nothing. There's other things maybe that are discouraging, but that's all personal growth on my side. But no, that kind of stuff doesn't bother me at all, because I'm not them. I don't know what's behind their wall, if there's a fire behind their wall, or what's going on in their lives. I don't know. And to me, if I want to get to a certain point, I got to focus on me and my game and how to get there, right? Yeah. So.
What about
that's just how I think. Aspect on that one. I think I have a different aspect on that too, because
go ahead.
Well, I've never had a problem, and I think when it comes to the group of us, I think I have a very different opinion about, I guess, what we call booby streamers.
Yep.
I don't really go by what I see on the camera, because it's not even the fact that they might have something different. If that is their hustle, then I respect it and I let it go.
Yep.
I like Carice, I don't go judging, like I don't compare. If they're doing well, that's awesome for them.
Yep.
Because the only person I need to concern myself is myself. So my failings is by me. It's by my design if I fail. And it's something that I need to personally change. Now and I also think that has to do with maturity and how you grow in life personally. Because if you're having problem seeing somebody else grow on a platform, then there might be also some ties of you just feeling failings outside of life too. That can be work and promotions and stuff like that. Then that I feel it has to definitely 100% do with maturity and just life in general, and just learning to accept it, that there is that competition, and you just have to change or modify something that you're doing to improve yourself, not because you want to be better than someone else. You just want to be better than you were yesterday.
100%.
When it comes to women who or just anybody that's a streamer, male or female, that you're both playing, say, two brand new, one male, one and two females. The two females are different. One is like your quote unquote booby streamer and one isn't.
Mm-hmm.
They all started opening up their Twitch account today. They all play Fortnite for the same amount of time. They all have the similar thing, but yet the one that grows more, I think there's a misconception that the one that's a booby streamer is going to have more follows, more views, more this. But what is the point of having all of that quantity if the quality of her personality on how she streams is next to nothing, because she's relying on her body? Yet again, this is a part of her hustle.
Mm-hmm.
I have very popular friends who are Twitch partners, and we all started at the same time, and they made partnership within 6 months of streaming. This is back in like 2011 here. And you could put them in the category of booby streamers, but the thing is that you don't know their personalities. Yes, they happen to be very, very blessed in the chest, it is. And there's only so many shirts that a woman can wear, and nobody likes wearing turtlenecks when they're streaming, okay?
Right.
If I had the choice to just wear a bikini and be okay with it, I would, because it's stinking hot. But they put out good content. They have great streams. They're very active. They do a lot for the community. They do a whole lot off their stream. So you can't just judge a streamer by the cover of whatever is on top of their channel.
Exactly.
There has to be so much more to that.
So there's like the mentality you have. You can have the image of a person like with a big bust, a big chest, and the person can still be a really good person. Because I think what we're talking about here is really the mentality, the image you're sending with like what you want to represent with that. If you're a good content creator and you happen to have King's boobies, well, you will not be considered like a booby streamer. Sorry, because you want to. The girls we put in that category is really the one who are lacking in the how can I say that, they lack on the human
humanity, or you mean their community and their content?
Yeah,
maybe?
kind of.
Okay.
Kind of, because they're just.
I'm struggling to find but I know what you mean.
They're just a person. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's obvious that some have no personality, and they just their webcam is half or 1/3 of the screen, and they pay no attention to anybody else. And it's just like, let me aim my camera down here. Yeah, I'm not talking about those women. Those women can go.
And you can tell, and because we've got a lot of ladies who are blessed in the chest. You can't. There's no way you can avoid that. I mean, one of my favorite ones to watch is Julie Vive, and she can't help that. Like, she just, but she's a good content creator. She's a great content creator. I love watching her VODs. Because I don't get to watch everybody live. I watch a lot of VODs. And
oh, that's good.
I love I love just so I think that there's when we say booby streamers, there is a specific type of streamer we're talking about. It's a personality. It's not a look. It's a personality.
Because I can see someone
because there's booby streamers that don't have no boobs. and
Right?
they
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
There's people who use what they got, and that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's whatever. But then there's people who expect their viewers to pay for what they got.
Exactly.
And that's the difference, how they treat their viewers and their community, or even treat it as a community at all.
Right.
Because when I was doing research on it before I started streaming, I came across this one who would yell at her viewers and expect payments for Snapchat and this and that. Well, the
That is
adult
against
version of
Twitch terms of
Snapchat.
services.
It
Just
is. She
FYI.
got banned, but at the same time, like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Why?
There's actually a whole
Why?
other website just dedicated to that, and that's new, and it actually does really well. Don't ask
Right.
me why
Yeah.
I'm looking at that site.
Yeah.
Uh,
But
that's
that's not
still a
the
That's
hustle,
fine.
though.
Take it
website.
over there.
It's their hustle for sure.
It's totally their
Right.
hustle. Yeah.
And there was
and
a reason that hustle began. It needed to be done.
Right, because there's a market for it. We actually have there's the actual, like, if there's a void, there was obviously a void because there are viewers and there are people who do want to subscribe to that content. So as long as that's there, as long as you have one, you have a void to fill.
Yeah.
And so it makes sense. It totally makes sense. It's not what I'm like my branding is about, or what GirlStreamers branding is about, but that's
And again, it kind of, to circle back to earlier, that's why we want to separate ourselves, and we are very specific about the girls who come in. Like, we do review your channel, not just your channel. We review your Twitter, your Twitch. We look at your content and your personality and what you provide. And if you come across as someone who doesn't really care about people, and you're clearly just looking to network, you're not going to work well in GirlStreamers. You're going to rub up, you're not going to work well with the girls that are in this community, because this is this is what a community is. This is a true community. It's not a networking site. It is a community, and there's a difference.
It's networking.
It is networking, but that's not
It
the
is.
sole purpose of it.
But I think that's why some people consider joining it in the first place, is for those networking things.
It's for the
So
networking.
the initial thing is for the networking purposes. Friendship just happens to be an extra bonus that
Well,
happens.
so
in
does
itself.
like the technology and the, all the helping stuff we do.
Like,
I
we're
think
here
my
to
last
encourage, support,
comment towards that
grow.
original, yeah, pretty
Which
much.
I
That's my
think
number
is
one thing.
such a. I know that when Dad came up with that, she was like, "What about this?" And we're like, "Yeah." And she was like, "We can change it later." 2 years later, it's just so perfect in my.
What's
opinion.
that? With
The
what?
encourage, support, grow. Like, it's such a perfect, pristine explanation of what we do. I love it so much. I love that motto, essentially, that credo, because that's what we do.
It is. But my last comment on top of that same question, if you want to look at it the other way, as far as if you get discouraged by seeing another female, regardless of how they're streaming, be successful. If it comes to being a friend, and you and your friend are streaming, and she happens to do a little bit better, I think you shouldn't let jealousy come into between that or be discouraged by it. In fact, encourage it, because it'll also test how great of a friend she is. Because if she's doing well, obviously a good friend is going to want you to, like, hey, this is my friend, come and check her out, follow her, this is the stuff we do. It's, even if it's that person that's growing, it's a benefit to you too, not only as just that friendship, but that networking market too. So I love having my friends like succeed. It makes me happy because I know that they're happy, and at the same time, I always know this. The little bias here is just that if I need help, or if I need a good push, or if I need somebody who works in the industry that they have hookups to, I can ask them for advice of, like, hey, I'm trying to do this. It works out. It's like a mutual benefit thing as being friends. So don't be discouraged from it. Just take it as like, well, you're kind of growing with them too, just not in the most direct way that maybe you might see ideal. And it should go the other way around too, that if you are doing well and you are a good friend, you're going to want to be like, hey, I think you should meet this person, I think you should do this, you know.
100%.
Like
pass
when
along those eyes and
100%, because I got to meet Carice for the very first time at E3, and I got to meet this absolutely wonderful dev, Pavlina. And the moment I started talking to her, I was like, oh my God, I need you to meet this person. Like, I love your game, but I know she, like, it speaks to her DNA. Like, you should have a relationship with her too. With me,
thank you
but,
for
you know, be 100% better with her. You know, that's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
And the Encourage Support Grow, by the way, was not dead. It was Carice. I misspoke. Sorry. I forgot. It's 2 years ago. I don't remember. I couldn't remember. Thank you for correcting me on that.
Doesn't matter.
But to just kind of finish this up and put my thoughts on that, I struggle on that when I see, especially girls that I recruit, do significantly better than me. Then my initial reaction is, damn, I am jealous. But then I sit there and I go, I helped her do that. Because I recruited her, I helped her get her stuff together, and she is a very, you know, I consider all of the girl streamers friends. She's a good friend, and I love her content, and her content is good, regardless of who it is. Like, I've struggled with that, but at the same time, it's like, man, we help each other with this kind of stuff, and it helps each other grow. And I think it's a natural human reaction to have something like that when we compare ourselves. But like many of you have hit on, we can't do that. We have to just go, okay, all right, I feel this way, but it's really not a bad thing, and you know, it's okay, right? It's okay. It's natural human reaction. But so we'll move on to the next question. For everyone, from Lobster, for everyone, for all of us, what do we think of the mods for Girl Streamers and how far we have come on Girl Streamers? We do our mods differently. We have mods on the channel, but those aren't necessarily the mods who help us moderate Discord. So I'm assuming because
it's support troops. She's what she's talking about.
I'm assuming she's talking about the support troops. So I'm gonna.
I feel that
I don't know.
That's like still something fresh, new thing.
Yeah.
In a way, you know. So and it's definitely grown and gotten better. I mean, just like even our leadership team, there's always room for improvement. And I think there should always be room for improvement. There's never going to be a time where like we are 100%, we're great. Support troops, I think it's still like something that's new. I mean, I'm appreciative of everything that they do, the time, because you know none of us are getting compensated for this, and they volunteered for it. So it's awesome that they do that as they can. Understandable, everybody has a life and they got things going on. But hey, they do what they can. They're there. I think it's awesome. And
thank you guys so much.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. It really helps us a lot on whether you're a support troop, a Babelfish, a Demimod. Like, it is so helpful for us on so many levels. You have no idea. No idea.
And I think we're just like so glad that people want to invest their personal time in the community, because we couldn't do this just 5 of us
alone. Oh my God, we wouldn't sleep. We would not sleep. Holy hell!
You would have to learn German. Can you imagine?
We got the French covered. We
at
least got the French covered.
That's as far as I'm gonna be like 9.
I got some Icelandic, but that's not getting us anywhere. It's not getting us anywhere.
So yes, this is a QT cup. It's a quark.
Oh, that was another question.
That was a question. So marching band nerd gamer. By the way, I love that name. That's a fantastic.
That's really funny.
Name. What made you all start streaming on Twitch? Was it peer pressure, YouTube? That's actually a really good question. I usually ask that question on the individual streams, But it's been 2 years since I've interviewed all of you, so let's get a refresher. What got you all started streaming on?
Let's start with the boss.
Yeah, let's start
You
with.
never asked me that question.
Did I not? See, you were the first victim, so I should probably do an entire podcast just you with the new questions I have developed over the 2 years.
Mhm. I started streaming on Twitch because I played Destiny 1 since the beginning, and I met this person who is a French streamer. Her name is Morrigan, and she was always live streaming, and we would play with her when she was live. And then one day I was like, oh, try. Like when I bought my Xbox One, because I wasn't Xbox 360 at the time, there's this Twitch application in it. So I said, why not? Let's give it a go. And I was like really just the actual game, so no overlay, barely the mic. I wasn't even like speaking to chat because I was like so shy, and my first viewer and follower at the time was Ducko, which
Wow.
remained, yeah, he remained my friend since the end, till the end, yeah.
How
So
now?
that's
How long
that's
have
because
you
of a
been
French
streaming?
streamer.
How long have you been streaming then officially?
Uh, 3 years, 3 years and a half, maybe.
Wow, man, that's crazy. Carice?
Yep.
I think she just got me totally thinking about Doc now, and it's making me sad. I started I think how many interviews have I done that I've had that question? I started with World of Warcraft, and that was back on Justin TV. I streamed for just our immediate raid group, so that people who were sitting on the bench knew exactly what they wanted to or needed to do when we swapped out. We all kind of split up and stopped raiding, and I kind of liked streaming. And okay, apparently we're getting back into raiding.
That's funny.
But yeah, so I kind of continued, and then just slowly over time started building a brand, which I love doing. I love designing, and kind of came up with a bit of a character. And yeah, now here I am doing indie games. So yeah, that's my journey.
I forgot you've been on Justin. You were on Justin TV.
Yeah, that's where it all started.
What about you, Kinky? How long have you been streaming? And what got you into streaming? Sorry, what got you into streaming?
I started the February before GirlStreamers started. So pretty much the same amount of time. And husband got me started. He was like, you should do this thing. And
So
now
was
he's
peer
like,
pressure for
I already played the games. Like, it was whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll play the games and see if someone comes in. And then people came in. And I was like, oh. And then they kept coming. And I was like, great. And now he's like, you're better at this thing than me. And now I'm like,
I don't know. I like his streams. He's a very
right?
chill
He's a
streamer.
good streamer.
I enjoy his streams. I really do.
If we're going in order of who went here, then that'd make me last.
So what about you? When did you? I'm the host. I'm always last.
Oh, okay. When did I?
You're one of the Justin TV people too, aren't you?
Originally, yeah. Originally, yeah, it was. It wasn't actually for building viewers, actually. When I signed up for Justin TV used to have an option to lock and password lock your channel. So I have friends who were competitive in the Gears series and tournaments and stuff like that. And so they would use it as a means of recording everybody's things and analyzing it for, you know, the competitive scene, and that's what we did. So the only people that would be viewing in there, and I never actually competed. I always played filled. All my friends did. I just filled when somebody wasn't there. I didn't want to compete. I didn't have the time to. And then Twitch was made, and I changed my username to what it is now. That was June of 2011 that I made my Twitch account. But I think I had like a Justin TV account from like 2009. So I've been streaming off and on for 9 years. But streaming wasn't my primary thing. At that time, I was 24 years old. Yeah, I was 24 years old, and I chose my career because I was a single mom and I needed, you know, health insurance. So I went with my 9 to 5 job, which I still have now. And, you know, I helped, my main focus was helping my friends, because when they found out, and they were really smart. They could see where Twitch was going before they did. And that's why you have Twitch partners who are 9 years, even though that Twitch didn't become a thing for like a while after that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And yeah, so every single one of my friends, including my boyfriend, are all Twitch partners, and I help them all along the way. And on top of that, so that was kind of like me managing it, because in those early days, and this is why I love doing the tech portion of Girl Streamers, is because back then nobody knew what they were doing. We literally
God.
were squirrels.
The
At a
tools weren't there
rate.
to look at either.
There wasn't. So everybody was like, how do you use XSplit? What is this thing? And we have an like the Hellpodge HD PVR or the Roxio Dazzle that everybody was using. And
Oh my
you know,
God,
if you
Roxio.
could have a stream that was like 360p, oh my God, you're like amazing. If you could get it to be 480, you were popular. If you used a cam, everybody, okay, originally nobody liked streamers who used cam. They hated streamers that used cam. But if you're smart and you did it correctly, it was like this new thing that was like, wow, this is so amazing. I can actually watch you and then you're like talking back. Like, it was mind blowing to people. And at the same time, like, nobody knew or understand bit rates. They didn't understand their audio. They didn't know how to set it up. So it's a lot of like our friends and a lot of the partners of this way, like, okay, how does my stream look now? Does this look okay? How's this audio? How do you do this? Like, nobody knew. And it's like, it was that great feeling of helping each other out. And that's what I love doing about Girl Streamers. I don't have all your answers, but you know what? I damn well will make sure I can go and find it for you, or find the right way to get it to you. And I won't pretend that I know everything, but it's just like that support system of being able to help people. And then they all got to be, you know, partners, and I was very, very happy for them. A lot of them have done some amazing things. And like, I think you said that you want to meet Malik. Malik was one of those friends of mine, and he grew up to do huge things. And
I
he's
love
like,
him.
he does the Overwatch League hosting now. And I finally got to meet him. After so many years. Okay.
Yeah.
And
I got to see him live here, hosting one of the tournaments. It was really cool. He's fantastic.
he is absolutely fantastic. And I met him playing Gears, and like, we were just a bunch of nobodies that nobody knew about. We just loved playing games. And I got friends who even stopped streaming, and you know, some of them went to go work for Twitch themselves. Some of them are just doing their things or hosting. But what got me fully to stream and consider it is that G4 TV, I think I explained that part to you on the podcast. G4 TV
That's right.
actually reached out to me and say, hey, we're participating in Extra Life. Do you want to join our team to raise money? I'm like, what the hell is Extra Life, and what do I have to do? Just stream for 24 hours. Stream what? Anything you want to play. We'll give you a bunch of stuff to give away. And they gave me keyboards, they gave me headsets. At that time, I think Triton's was actually better than Astros, so I had a bunch of those to give away. And I was like, that's all I got to do? You're like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, sure. Because before that, I was only moderating channels and helping other people build that stuff. I didn't actually stream myself. So that October, November of 2011 was my first 24-hour stream. And I think I raised well past my thing. And I only did stuff for charity. That was kind of it. I didn't want to stream for anything else. I just did it for charity because that's all the time I had. And then I had a friend who passed away. I had a friend online on Twitter that I never actually got to meet. I don't remember what part of Canada she was from. We never ever talked about those personal things and locations, but she was absolutely this force of life that I loved, even though it was online. Like her presence in my life made it so much better. And she ended up passing away of cancer in 2015 or 2016. I think it's 2015. It's the reason why I have a septum piercing, because she had a really, really nice one. I got it for her when she passed away. And her thing is, she's like, you have, like, she told me this huge story, and then it ended with, like, you have to stream because you offer so much more that you don't give credit for. And I want the world to see that of you and for you to accept that from the world. And from then, I stream as often as I possibly can. And
What
it's
was her
just
name?
always for her. Her name was Amy. She went by
Amy.
Cutterbutts.
Thank you, Amy.
Yeah.
So we got to meet Miss DJM. That's really cool.
We
So
have a
that's the
DJM
entire reason.
because of Amy. That's awesome. So we are 20 minutes until the end of the podcast, so we've closed down the questions because I actually have some I do want to hit on before. But yeah, you guys have helped us get to so
Did you want to ask that question that Kimmy put in there? The what other games were you guys planning on making teams for?
yeah, I was gonna get
Even
to
though
that
we haven't.
after
Okay.
this question, because you're getting ahead of me. You're getting ahead of me because this question is a great follow-up to the last question. What drove you to your position within the community? Because DJ kind of answered this question in her answer. So, what drove you to your position within the community? Because we each kind of.
Oh, see, that's not that wasn't what drove me. Carice told me to.
Aside from being
did.
told.
Everything that I've done with Girls Dream is always because of Carice.
But
Would you like to join our community?
you
Carice.
naturally fit into that, and that's why, because of your history, your back. You know, you kind of naturally fit into doing the tech and troubleshooting.
Okay. Well, yeah, I kind of did. Because that's what I loved. And Carice was like, you're gonna do this now. Even the stream team, I didn't even directly apply yet. And she's like, would you like to be on our stream team? I really like this. And I'm like, wow, you really went into my things. Okay, I feel like I can't tell you no.
Yeah, that's when we were like asking girls and begging them to get on the stream team.
I didn't have to beg anyone. That's fake news.
She didn't beg. She just commanded. She just commanded, like, you are doing this now.
It just happened.
But it ended
happened.
with a smiley face, so then it makes it okay. So it's not a command, it's a request, kind of.
Exactly,
It's a
kind
request, but
of.
it
You're
has
like,
actually
"All right, I'm here. This works.
So,
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
so Dad, you're the CEO. You're the person who runs everything, but your specific position is you focus on getting us partners. You focus on getting us like getting us to conventions and, hey, here's this, could we do this is in your local, that's like your realm. Did you just kind of take that on because that's what you are very good at, or did you just kind of fall into it because nobody else was doing it?
I think I can say I'm good at this.
Fantastic.
But yeah, that's
you really are.
That's something I was already doing when the team was built, and I don't know. I don't think you guys are disappointed in my work.
No, I wouldn't
no.
want to do it. You did a really good job. So
Yeah, no, I think I'm really like straightforward, simple, and I don't. I have like this maybe easy like to get in touch with people. I think I kept it myself.
what about you, Carice?
I kind of filled a void that just happened to happen when we all formed, and there was a need for some artwork. There was a need for some branding, and kind of fell into that. Ended up finding somebody who I worked with so well, Dead. Like I loved her work style, and we gelled really well. And then met you guys, and then it's just like we all have different ways of managing things, and yeah, so I feel like I was there at a point that there was a void that needed to be filled within the community, and it
Really
just happened.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it just all happened. It was serendipitous that it happened that way. So the rest is history.
What about you, Kiki?
I don't really have a defined kind of role. At the time I was brought on, I think it was just mod, and what we were supposed to do was assigned to bots mostly.
Yep.
So I didn't really,
Yep.
I didn't really get to do anything. And then it seemed like people needed to be dealt with. So I
So bodies
Dealt
are in the
with.
basement.
yep. Just get those.
We have a few
A
bodies.
little bit. And then actually I'm not sure how I got. I don't quite remember how I got the stream team.
I do.
No,
I
okay.
don't either, actually.
I remember.
Did you just shove it onto her like you shoved DJ into the text stuff?
No. It was like for me, it was because it was getting bigger and our community was getting bigger, and we all realized like Dead had a shit ton of stuff on her plate. At the time, Zia Rose was here as well. She had a shit ton on her plate. We all had so much to do, and Kinky just had an amazing personality. She could talk to people better than I could. Like you guys know that sometimes my texts don't come across as nice as maybe
Kinkies?
as Kinkies. So you just
Really
realized
weird.
we realized right away that like Kinky was
Kinky's
probably
really
the
good
best
at that.
person to talk to everybody. So and yeah, and then she had ideas for how the stream team should be organized, and she wanted to head that up. So Crease the jerk, shut up, Shazzy. But and like thank God, because like that's another thing, like she fell into that role, and I'm glad that you took that over because like it's a success. So
Yeah, because it was kind of floundering at that point. We were like, all right, we got to do something.
what was
Yeah.
growing? There's so many things
Yeah.
on Twitch, right? So many, like even like Discord. Thank you, Discord, for making an amazing platform for us to actually grow on. Like, what the hell? Where would we be if Discord wasn't here? Like, I think that's
Oh my
pretty
God. I
pretty
don't
cool
Using
that
the
we
crappy
have this.
Twitch app.
We'd
Oh,
still be using
yeah.
Twitter.
Oh my God. Well, Twitter's still good. Like, I love Twitter still, but
No, I
but
mean
having
the
that
Twitter
platform.
messages. Like there was no
Oh,
way.
that's
There was
right, the
no
groups.
way you could do. There's no way we could do what we do
No,
with what was
no.
there 2 years ago.
Yeah. So this
No
is
way.
amazing. Like even every time we get a new update in Discord, I'm like, holy shit, how do we get this service for free? Like it's pretty amazing. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that helped us with a lot of things, like organizing things, getting our teams set, and our stream team successful, our groups successful, our going like so many things revolve around Discord. I find for us. So I think we formed at the right time.
It opened up a lot of opportunities that we wouldn't have had if we had to be still on Twitter.
A different platform.
Yeah,
A different platform.
it definitely
Yeah.
opened up a lot of things. I guess I'll
I
answer
think
my
we
own
would
question.
typically have a normal form.
Yeah.
Website forum.
For me to answer my own question, I kind of created my role because nobody had on the horizon to do anything like a podcast or any of the video stuff that we produce here. So I was like, well, this is what I'm good at. This is what I do for a living. Would you guys be interested? And Dad was like, yeah, all right. Carice was like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. So that's how my role came about. And me and Carice work very, very close together because of the branding stuff. Like our positions, they're both media based, but they're like two sides of the same coin. So we work very close with a lot of the stuff that I end up producing for GirlStreamers. So yeah, she's a big help with that on that end. But yeah, I kind of created my own role because I didn't have anything, and I was like, well, I feel useless. So I was like, I can do this, and that's how I think I'm the only one who truly created a space for myself. I kind of, yeah, I'm the only one who created
I'm
a
just
space.
here.
Everybody else was pushed into something by Carice, and I'm like, well, I can do this.
But was there? I don't think it was really so much push. I think it's just the universe because it just fits so perfectly for each one of our personalities.
It really does.
There
It's
wasn't so much that
weird.
Carice pushed. It was just it
It's
just
weird
worked out
how
so well.
organic it worked out, and I just think it's really cool. I think it worked. Hashtag blame Carice. There's our new. We have so many T-shirts coming
love
out of
it.
this weekend, you guys.
I'll tell a little story about you, Nymphadora. Like when you actually first came on board, it was we
Okay.
we actually absolutely loved your personality. We thought you were like so
regret
vivacious, vivacious, and just you had this strong personality that was just so. It was so perfect. It was such a perfect fit that we didn't have, and like so that's our story about how we brought you on as a mod at that time. We're just
Right,
like
yeah.
we need her here. We need that personality here, and then the podcast was like a huge bonus. So
Yeah, I was brought on as a mod, which I still don't understand why. Like
I just told you.
I
I just
mean,
told you. Yeah.
it still doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, then I was like, well, I can do this, and that's how that came about. But we've got a few more questions. That's actually my last question. So we've got a few more questions, and then we'll wrap this up because we are pushing 10 o'clock, and that is our cutoff time.
That's amazing.
Yeah, you guys have pulled it out with the questions. You guys have asked really good questions. I love it.
See, you don't have to
I
worry
feel like
about
we
it.
had like a family reunion.
Yeah,
This is
Bring
awesome.
it all.
Yeah.
Kimmy asked.
I don't want you guys to go.
Kimmy wants to know what games we were planning on making teams for. I know we've got a lot of really big ideas in that perspective, so I don't know who wants to take that question on.
TBD.
TBD.
Yep.
TBD.
I'm glad that the arrow pointing is staying on that side of the screen. It is something that is in the plans that we are still working our way through. So there's nothing cemented as far as what games. As it is, we want to build the foundation that is going to go off of. We're not going to get ahead of ourselves. The games and that genre will come definitely later on because we don't want to build that branch of girl streamers around one specific game. It needs to be all encompassing, and no matter what direction we decide to go.
Right.
So that is not the answer that you're looking for, but is the answer that we can give you.
It's a great answer. I like that answer.
Yep, it's a good one. Sonic, GirlStreamers started 2 years ago.
A little bit more than 2 years ago.
Yep, it would have been. Yep. Oh, you mean ink, like the actual ink part?
The actual ink
fairly...
part. Oh, well, that's like a couple of months ago.
Yeah, that wasn't. Yeah, we didn't incorporate until last November, so we're not at a year yet for the actual business side of the community. But the community itself has been a little
Since
over
November?
2 years.
Yep.
A little over 2 years.
2016. Yep.
Yeah.
Can't you guys keep going? This is too good. You know what? This is
I know, right?
Nymphadora
I
about
agree.
the Cosmic Bulletin too. Okay, so I have a question that I don't think I should know the answer to this one. I probably do, but it's more of I'm asking because it hasn't been asked and it could and probably should have been. Will we always only just focus on Twitch? Because that is something that's coming, that's new, and they're trying to focus and grow on too.
There
To
was a
be
time.
more inclusive
There
to
was-
everything, because originally Twitch was the #1 and only platform, and now you have so many.
There was
So-
a time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Kinky.
Okay, Kink, go ahead. Sorry. Love you. I don't want to be in your basement.
Where they brought the idea of trying to do it on one platform that can not be named on Twitch and Mixer, and for the team, as far as the team goes, that's a lot to organize.
Mm-hmm.
Just the Twitch team is a lot to organize. And then as far as promoting everybody on all the different platforms, I thought that was always the goal.
Yeah.
But the
It's getting
technology is catching up,
Yeah.
but it hasn't gotten where we need it as much as I would have liked.
So I wonder if that question, Miss DJM, are you talking about the team, like Girl Streamers, actually being on
I
all those
think
platforms,
it's
or just our
just
community?
overall. I
Okay.
think it's just overall to put it out there is just that, yeah, originally when GirlStreamers came out, that the platform was originally, our community was originally focused on just Twitch.
Yeah.
But we understand that there's people moving, there's changes, there's other options becoming available. Maybe it may not be feasible to have a quote unquote stream team on those other platforms, but it does not mean that you're
do have a
excluded
presence.
because you're only
Right.
on Mixer or anything like that. If we can, we will try to be as supportive as
Oh,
possible in
yes.
all of them.
Yeah.
Because I think there is a misunderstanding, and we talked about this in our private meetings too. There is
Mhm.
some misunderstanding that if you change platforms, you can no longer be a part of GirlStreamers because we're only on Twitch. That is not
That's
right.
not
That's not true.
No.
We
Not
love
at
you no matter
all.
where you're at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to stream on Hitbox, you stream whatever it is. I don't know how many different ones there are right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will
If
do
you
our
want to go
best.
live on Instagram, for God's sakes, like we will promote you still. Like that's still.
We
Yeah.
will do our
Yep.
to the best of our okay.
Capabilities, the
I
best of our
think-
capabilities.
I think my official title is a social media person. Even though I do more than just that. We all do more than just our official titles, right? But a lot of my work is dealing with Instagram, Twitter, and promoting, and that that's what I do. It is difficult, but we try to catch your stuff. I've been with Instagram. I've been trying to do the regram and Instagram your names. You just got to make sure to add us on the different platforms so we can see it, because that actually helps me find you easier, because I can't go looking for you all the time. It helps me find you easier, and then I can just click okay, retweet, or okay, regram. Now I know Dead handles the retweet bot on Twitter, and that's not just for Twitch. That is for anybody who's going live on whatever thing. Twitter is a little bit easier for that when it comes to retweeting stuff. Instagram is manual at the moment, but I do think that there are some things that are trying to make it a little bit easier to work on. So yeah, we're not exclusive to Twitch. We want to promote everybody who is on various platforms. But I think ideally we would like to be able to have a stream team on
Everywhere we're
everything.
gonna dominate the world. We're gonna just
we want to
take over
dominate the
everything.
world, right?
And then when they
Ideally.
ask, why did you do this? Because Karee said so.
She pushed us off the edge.
But
pushy.
I mean that was
So
that's a
bushy.
really good question. Thank you for that question.
Yeah. It was a good.
There's
It was
also
actually a
Instagram
good
TV
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
There's Instagram TV now that you can make content for.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Oh my god, it's crazy. And whenever I'm like at a convention or anything, I actually try to go live and on our stuff, because I have all
that's
that
perfect.
information to promote things. So
And just so you guys know who are listening in chat, Discord is catching up. So there are mixers going to be coming up soon. So that's going to be something you can integrate into your profile, which will help us to announce when you're going live. So there's a lot of really cool changes and they're coming fast and quick through Discord. So yeah.
So we've got 2 more questions. Hell Susan asked, if you could pick one thing that makes your stream special, what would that be? I guess our individual streams. So we'll start with Dead.
What?
Okay, way to pay attention.
I was reading chat, sorry.
If you could pick one thing that makes your stream special, what would that thing be?
Teresa's wig.
My wig.
I do think that's one of the cool things about her specific stream is the way.
I will take hers to make a cool thing about my stream. No, I don't know. I think I'm pretty good at FPS.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah, you really are.
I am not an entertainer. I
You
don't
are
tend
very.
to speak a lot when I stream because I'm really into gaming, and this is something that I could change. But I'm really good at playing games.
I think
I have
that
a
that definitely makes your stream special because a lot of people are there's a lot of entertainers out there and some people just want to watch the gameplay.
I had a conversation with somebody recently. I'm not pointing at anybody, but do you remember when you did that whole series on your stream when you were
Oh.
doing the drums?
Yeah.
If you
Oh, I
did,
love
you were to do
that.
that again, if you were to ever do that again, please let us all know so that we can all be there. I thought
That was so
moved
cool.
me so much.
That was really cool.
Yeah.
Can you bring that to
Thank you.
TwitchCon?
Oh yes, can you
Oh,
bring that? Oh, that's right.
yes!
That was another question. If you
And
could
we're
bring
gonna
them
have
to
to-
TwitchCon,
I'm gonna have to pay for an extra baggage.
I'll pay for it.
Okay.
I'll pay for it.
Okay, done.
I could, yeah.
Oh, that would
Yay!
be amazing.
No, I will get Commander Trouble to buy me one in
That would be
LA.
great.
She's in LA, right?
I
in
think she's
Vegas.
just
that over there.
in Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah.
She gets to drive over.
We'll find something. We'll find something. Just yeah, totally.
I think Mal's in San Jose. He can go buy you something.
Yeah, Mal.
There you go.
Problem
Done.
solved.
Okay, Carice.
What's the question again?
What makes your stream special?
What makes my stream special? Chat, my mods, the wigs, obviously, the goggles, being able to be somebody different who isn't like when this is all off, I'm kind of like I'm Clark Kent, right? So this like just being able to
I'm not gonna lie, it was
Be on
really weird
stage.
seeing you without wigs at BlizzCon. It was really weird seeing you without a
was
wig.
it weird?
And then you
Miss
had the wig
DJ
on the
M's
next
on-
day, and I was
on-
like, "That's
I
the
didn't think it was
Carice we all
weird.
know and love."
I didn't think it was weird.
Yeah.
I like her
Oh.
hair. I like her natural hair. It's beautiful.
But see, this is the only time, like in this room usually, and if I'm doing like a con or something, then I get to dress up. So that's what makes that special.
Multiplayer with Shazi. Ka. Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
I forgot about that.
Multiplayers.
Ka. All right, Kinky.
How about you,
what
Kinky?
Oh. I mean,
Commentary.
If
for
you
sure.
are, yeah, it's a commentary.
Kiki's
If you are
hilarious.
in,
Kiki is hilarious.
at any given time you enter my stream, we can be talking about various anatomies, such as
It's a very
weird
educational stream.
oddity. We get real personal with it, and then husband staring at me most of the time as well. It's a whole dynamic. Like that.
Hello.
Like that. It's really there. See that? Because he's like, why? But why? And then my kids.
Totally.
They're little
I can't
babies.
keep them from
Baby
not
king.
being here. So they are part of the stream.
Baby King
They are
1.0
part
and
of-
2.0.
Yep. And with that and just you guys, you guys all make my stream amazing, and I have the best time. It's just hanging out. I can't
Big time.
really ask for anything more. Like, it's all I wanted to do is just chill with friends and play games. So
Yeah. And sometimes get a really cool clip or two that just you look back on. It's kind of like a scrapbook now, isn't it, guys?
It
You look back at your
is.
stuff, you're like, holy shit, we're funny. Oh my
Right?
God, we're so funny.
I go back. I do. I scroll back and I'll
Same.
look at the clips I made of you guys, or
Yeah, same.
the
I
clips
do the
that
same.
someone's got of mine, and I
Yeah.
laugh. And
Yeah. Make sure you download all those, by the way. I know Dustthorn is there right now. I've also, all of you guys, download those things just in case something ever happens, God forbid, to this platform and you lose all that stuff. That's pretty much our scrapbook for the last couple years. I think
Me and your
it's
stream being a butthead. Face, you are always special. You make everybody's stream special. So, DJ, what makes your stream special to you?
To me. Man,
Well, I
don't
mean,
know.
what makes your stream special? I'm assuming all of these
Period.
are special to you.
For
I'm
me.
assuming that you're gonna say that I laugh at penis.
Yeah,
Oh,
your giggle
Your
snort
giggle is like one of the best
is
things
my favorite.
ever. I love your giggle so much.
so. Is there an incoming compilation gonna happen soon?
I gotta
That'd be
find
good.
it. I gotta
Dude,
find this.
Oh my god.
God.
No, there's no compilation about it. Just that I don't know what it is. I also have a panic laugh giggle, and I incessantly say sorry a lot. I don't know why. Especially when I was playing. Yeah, we're playing like Dead by Daylight, and I'm like Survivor, and I'm running away saying sorry. I don't know why.
I remember
I
that.
impulsively say I'm sorry. But I don't know. I definitely my long time followers definitely make my things special. I mean, all my regular followers are great, but I've had mods and followers for these last 7 years, and they've seen me throughout my entire life's ups and downs and everything, and they've been the most incredibly supportive people. Even when I went through like a really crappy ass like relationship, they knew something was wrong, so I can never really truly hide that.
Yeah. Okay.
But if I had to choose something that was gaming wise, man, I'm just like a weeb. I really like dating sims.
What's your
Like, we
favorite
have
dating sim?
Right now, that I'm trying to get my boyfriend to finish with me is Dream Daddy.
That's
But
such a fun game. I love that
It
game.
is, and
It's
I'm like,
so fun.
I started working through with it, and like, I'm like, you're gonna make these choices, and I think he made one choice where he like, yeah, we'll go home with this guy from the bar, and like, I think the next thing was like the guy like threw him up against the wall. He's like, this is not what I asked for. I'm like, you made the
Wow.
choices. Okay, I told you he was gonna be rough with you. He had every side of it. He's like, I don't understand how to play this, but I don't know. We like to play all sorts of games, and we choose like me in the chat. We always choose who's gonna be our waifu and who we're gonna swoon, even if the game is not a dating sim whatsoever.
There's a lot of weeb
Awesome.
talk in your stream. There really is. There's a lot of weeb talk there.
And then yeah, and I'm currently recording because I can't stream it. We're not allowed to stream it. It's on the possible closed prohibited list. So I'm recording stuff specifically for those people to put onto YouTube. So I'm working on editing Deep Space Waifu.
Oh God. Deep space
So,
waifu.
I have
Sounds
a lot
like
of
a
weeb
classy-
content on there. So I if I could play Honey Pop on there, I would. Honey games. Oh man. Yeah.
And that's good for you because I attempted one and nah, dude, can't do
Nope.
it. Nope.
You can do it.
I watched you
I
play
like
some
it.
of that too. It was really good though.
It
was good watching
was
you play it.
entertaining for everybody else. It
You're
was
like,
very entertaining.
what?
Just too many questions
Great,
unanswered on that whole situation.
It's fun though.
um,
I'm just saying it's not for everybody because some of them are like really text heavy. Oh, okay.
Oof.
That's the other thing is I like to do voices when I do visual novels and I read and I try to make as many voices as I can. And I do not
Your
suggest that for
voices are
games like Danganronpa
so
where you have like
great.
17 like different voices, but there's a bear named Monokuma who actually really talks like this. And he's a super serial killer bear who likes the ultimate despair.
Of course,
that's what
a
I do.
serial
So
killer
there.
voice. Of course,
I
it
watched
is.
her play this with that. Oh,
Oh
my
my
god. I
God.
could not stop laughing. I could not stop laughing. Although, also, by the way, I posted the penis clip where she giggles. You guys have to go watch it. It's hilarious. It's
That's
absolutely
not.
hilarious. It's absolutely hilarious. So, okay, next question. Final question. Kimmy coming in with the good questions. Any tips for upcoming streamers that you wish someone had told you?
Be careful who you tie your wagon to.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yep. That's a good one.
Because people will come at you like they're friendly, but they're entertainers. It's a mess. And
Yeah.
then you start hearing them like talk outside of stream. And you're,
Yeah.
oh,
Mhm. Mhm.
and then you somehow have to
Extricate
untangle your
yourself.
entire situation from that, and you'll lose some people
Yep.
because they don't get to see it, and you shouldn't say anything about it unless it's illegal or something like that. But
Yeah.
you can't be the one to like slander someone. You can't look bad, but at the same time, still have to pull yourself away. Like,
I think that's one of the things that I wish someone had told me about is you're probably going to have to deal with some crap and you're going to have to not talk about it. Because that's hard for me, is to not defend myself in any situation and to just let it go. I mean, I've had situations where, and Kinky knows some of the situations where I'm just like, I don't know. She's like, you can't, just don't say anything. I wish someone had told me that. I wish someone had prepared me for that, so that I would have known, okay, I may have to deal with these situations. Okay, let me prepare for that, because that's hard to just get the first time you go through something like that. You're like, well, they're just screwing me over, blah 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 blah. They keep slandering me, and because eventually it all comes out in the wash. But you have to be patient on that, and you have to be conscious with that, and it happens. It happens, not often, but it does happen, and a lot of people. I do wish I had been warned about some stuff like that, to know that, oh yeah, that's right. These are real people. That's probably going to happen to you, so you may want to be prepared.
Uh, so maybe not necessarily something that I would have told myself before I started all this, but good advice all around, and like an Oscar Wilde quote. But be yourself, because everybody else is already taken. That's probably it's a mantra that I have to, or that I went by when I started, and just to make sure that I have to keep reminding myself of that I can't be somebody else. That's gotta be me. I have to be me, and it's working.
Dead?
Not not an advice I would like want to have for starting streaming, but an advice I can give to people, because my stream is kind of easy. um, you are all starting at zero for it will take it will you will need to invest a lot of that in patience. Patience is the key, because you won't get 1,000 followers in a month. This does not happen. So just give it up and keep going and be yourself, like Harry said. And be careful who you meet on your way, because yeah, you can have fun on the way, of course, but it will take.
Yep. And join a solid community, a really good community. There's many out there.
Yeah, there's
and
a
like,
lot.
Obviously, GirlStreamers is fucking kick ass, but yeah, you should definitely.
Ooh, you said a dirty word.
I said it.
Okay.
She said ass. Ooh.
It's funny. I have one more question after all of this stuff, but I really wanted answered. So.
That's okay.
Wait,
sorry,
I
I'm sorry
want to
to
know
I love
what
it. I
your.
love it.
I want to know what
Yeah,
your
I'm
advice
gonna
is.
give my answer.
Okay.
My advice. It's funny because I don't think there's anything I could tell myself then that would help with my streaming directly so much. It's the people that you come across, and it's funny that mine is the opposite 180 of what Cree says of be yourself. Like that one was never a problem, and I think that's just like number one. But that you will come across people who, if you see something that you're doing really good, that they will most likely copy you. And right now, that's a problem that I'm having right now with somebody that I've known from the beginning. and it's very hard to deal with that. It really is.
Yeah.
Because there
Understandable.
is currently someone right now who, for the last 7 years, and it's super creepy, has done everything that
And you
I have
shot him.
done and everything that my boyfriend has done. And in that process, and it's funny, it's because it's not a woman, it's a man. To replicate it, and then on top of that, okay, for example,
Replicate it verbatim. I've seen the pictures, like
yeah,
verbatim.
and like if I get a partnership with someone that's for my personal thing, and I won't mention them because we're on GirlStreamers, but on mine, and they went and applied for the same exact thing, and it was given to them. I learned that they used my name to get it.
That's
Okay.
so screwed up.
So you have to be careful about who you associate yourself with. And you know, a long time ago, we were friends, and then I caught on super early, like, this is what you're doing. Like, they do not have a voice of their own. They have a voice of every person that they are trying to replicate and copy. And sometimes you cannot stop a person from doing that, but you can change how it affects you personally. And right now it's getting to the point where, okay, this is really hard, and I have to like completely 100% block this person out of my life. Not that I wanted them in my life, but it's we roll in the same circle of
Right.
streamers, of communities, of everything, that it's hard to just completely remove them. So it spent a long time just, all right, I'm going to tolerate you. We ain't friends, we ain't acquaintances.
Yeah.
But to see that they're continuing to do that, it's just really hard. And you have to change that mentality, because if you let things like that affect you, it affects your streaming, it affects, you know, you being able to enjoy something
sure.
that you love. So
And
you have to turn out a way to just, you know what, we're done. We're
You
out.
know, as an outsider looking into a situation, I've seen that actually happen to a few people. And seeing that, say you are the front runner of all of those things, you get the partnership, and nobody can be Miss DJM. That's you. This is your thing. No matter how many other imitators there are for all of us, you are you. So no matter what they do or how they get their stuff, it's still not going to be the same. I know it's irritating. I actually recently had somebody send me a message and ask if they could use my graphics for their for their website. I'm like, oh, nope.
At least they asked.
At least they asked.
That's true.
Yeah.
At least they yes. And I thought that was sweet. I'm like, thank you very much for the compliment, but no.
You know,
I'm gonna keep that stuff though.
to add on top of that, if you do see something and get inspired from that streamer, give them credit.
Oh yeah. It actually means a lot.
We are inspired by each other. It's a natural thing as a creator, as a creative person, but give people credit where credit is due, because that is rude as shit to take something verbatim and use it and create it. I'm sorry. I'm getting off on my tangent. Y'all know where I'm about to go with this. Give people credit. Give people credit.
To answer Dustthorn's question, and for Mr. Keys, this person 100% knows that he does this. He does it on purpose. I have approached him about it. I approached him about it really early on in our friendship, because my boyfriend then, or my boyfriend now, who was my friend then, he started doing that. I told him it wasn't cool, and that was what changed our friendship down to being just acquaintances. And when I approached him about it again, I was like, dude, I've been like, I know you. I know this is what you've been doing, and you've never had an original idea for yourself. His response to me was, relax, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
I blocked him on everything, and the people that he copies are actual personal friends of mine. That's even creepier, because he's not just copying me. He copies my boyfriend. He copies all of my friends.
Yeah. That's only going to get you so far. It just means that you can't survive on your own. It's okay.
I told them, they approached him about it, and all of a sudden, today, he revamped all his stuff because he was called out on it. And I told people, like, look, go look at this stuff. This is what he's copying. And they approached him about it too. So now he's making it seem like I've never done that. Yeah, you're a liar. I screenshots. But
so what's your question?
Yeah, so that's where it is. Oh, okay. My question is, so your friends, your family, how do they feel about you guys streaming and being a part of Twitch, Mixers, and GirlStreamers itself?
Go ahead,
Why are
Deb.
you laughing? How
can
does
answer
your
for
Viva?
both of us. I already know Nip's answer for the most part.
You're
I
gonna
think I
laugh.
know.
I've got something to tell you about the last thing I just spoke to you about yesterday. Like, it didn't take 24 hours to get an apology. It didn't take 24 hours. I got an apology in the middle of this podcast.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, it is a great question. So what's I have to pee again because I have no bladder. Deb, give us an answer.
What is the question?
Your friends and your family, what are their perspective and what do they think about you streaming and girl streamers and the community? Not necessarily directly girl streamers, but the fact that you created this community of what an outside person would think of, like they're just a bunch of video gamers.
Oh, I have just one sister. We're 8 brothers and sisters in my family. My dad died, and my mother is not onto internet at all. So I have only one sister who is aware, which is 32 Bananas, and she really, really, really likes what GirlStreamer has become because I talked to her when I started it, and she saw it grow. I think she thinks it's great, and we're doing such an amazing job.
I agree. How about Mr. Dad? Mr. Dad is pretty impressed with it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He doesn't talk about it much, but he always praises me. Oh, she does that. She's great at that.
Yeah, same. For me, I have a story actually. So my mom is the total opposite of Dad's mom. She's very, very media savvy. And I went to lunch with her a couple of weeks ago, and she said, "Crease, well, my real name." She goes, "Did you know that Dead Mannequin followed me on Twitter?" I'm like, "What? Did she really?" She's like, "Yeah." She's like, "She followed me on Twitter." I'm like, "That is awesome. That's so cool." I said, "How do you even know who Dead Mannequin is, Mom?" She's like, "You know that company GirlStreamers?" I'm like, "I do actually." She's like, "Do you know they retweet you, Carice?" I'm like, yeah, Mom, I do. This whole conversation, I'm like, you realize, like, I'm part of that whole collective. Like, that's what? That is wonderful. That, you know what? It is such a wonderful community. I'm like, thank you, Mom. Thanks. So yeah, no, my family absolutely loves it. She knows I stream. She likes YouTube more than Twitch, so we're trying to get her to convert. But yeah, no, my family's pretty
Mama Carice.
Mama Carice. So I know. Did you know Dead Mannequin followed me? That's awesome. That's awesome.
What about Mr. Carice?
Mr. Carice, huge support, obviously. He was there from day one when I was just in TV streaming, so he already knew that it was something that I was interested in. Supported it then, supports it even more now because he gets to see you guys and what we're doing, and he's opened a lot more to what is this whole gaming arena, and he knows how big it is and how much work we're putting into this. So yeah, I get a shit ton of support. Sorry for swearing.
It was really cool to talk to him at BlizzCon last year.
Yeah.
While waiting on you to get back from the wig store. But yeah, he was really cool to talk to, and we talked about, like, you know, obviously Blizzard stuff, but you know, we talked about GirlStreamers and all that stuff, and it was really cool to hear it from his perspective and stuff. So
yep.
I like Mr. Carice. He's a cool dude.
He'll do the same. Like if we're at a family dinner, he'll actually introduce it and start talking about GirlStreamers to his family, and they're just like, "What is Twitch? What? So he'll actually get into and explain what it is that it's about. It's so really fun to watch how passionate he gets about it and how proud he is of what we're doing, and he knows this is a big deal. So,
what about you, Kinky?
Yeah.
My side of the family I haven't seen for 4 years because I've been in the immigration process. So I'm pretty sure they don't really know what I do. My sister probably the closest one, and I've not ever seen her in chat. explaining gaming as just gaming was hard to any of my friends who didn't game. I have one that finally gets it, and she shows up sometimes. She bought a free Kinky shirt, and then it's like
That's
she
what's
still,
up.
yeah, she says about to wear it now, and I'm like, okay, that's cool. My in-laws don't really. There's not really. No, there's no one outside of the internet that really is about it in my life, I guess, other than my husband, I guess, for right now. So explaining it to other people is like,
It's hard. It's getting easier, but it's hard.
I mean, yeah, but I'm like, this is my job. I had to relent and finally get like a babysitter for like my streams on Wednesday nights. They have two active boys now, and
Two babies walking. Oh my
explaining
God.
that I would be here while the babysitter's here. I think it was an awkward scenario, and I'm like, well,
Do they get it
I
now,
work
though?
for a home. Yeah, they
Yeah.
they get it, but it's
Yeah.
weird. Weird for them,
I think it's becoming it is becoming an easier explanation and easier to explain.
No.
What about you, DJ?
Oh,
I like
okay,
how I
this
don't
is-
really call anybody by their real name, except for Carice, because it's one thing. Like Kinky, she's Kink Nightmare. DJ's Miss DJM, Dead Mannequins. I call
Dead.
you all nicknames.
Just said.
Dead is dead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously, my boyfriend, Mr. DJM, he's super supportive. Obviously, I mean,
No
yeah.
way.
He's
No,
so
right?
awesome. I'm so happy to have
He's
met
just
him.
okay. Sorry, Cesar, not full answer. When we were talking for those 4 hours in the hotel lobby?
It was almost 5 hours.
Okay, almost 5 hours. They
Yeah.
sat. This is how supportive he is because he wanted us to sit and chat. They sat in the car park a couple blocks away
You're kidding
The
me. That
whole
whole
time.
time? Really?
the whole time. That's
Okay,
how
he totally
supportive
he
is.
totally thought I kidnapped you and killed you or something. He's just like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?"
Oh, that's so
Is she okay?
sweet.
But,
That's super sweet.
Even though I told them several times you should come in,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they were like, no, you guys talk and chat. I thought they actually went something. No, they actually sat
So
in the
did
car.
I. Okay.
But when it comes to my family, I have a very very strict family that unless you're making a lot of money, it's not a real job. So that's why I still have my 9 to 5, which is a very very good position to be in. But I come from a bunch of families that we have 5 lawyers, 3 doctors, actors, singers, engineers. So I have a very, very lucrative, very up there, very prestigious family. So when they see that I do this, it's kind of just like, why?
Right.
It's always
Where's
why. Like,
the-
they're gamers. There's gamers, but they're like, that is a hobby. Like,
Yeah.
why? And when I started branching out and they saw me do stuff, like I did stuff for, like I said, G4 TV before, and they're like, okay, well, that's more suited to what this family does. You're very capable of being an entertainer. Why aren't you on TV? Because growing up, I modeled, I acted, I have several commercials under me. I did a lot of stuff. I used to actually run an agency from 12 years old. I used to run an agency with my mom and her co-owners of finding acting gigs and modeling gigs for other people, and then I also got paid that way too. So I don't know how to not work. I don't know how to help manage people. I don't know how to not help people.
Yeah.
So when it comes to streaming, it's more of like, how much do you get paid? Nothing, unless somebody wants to tip me. So why aren't you using your time better? I was like,
Yeah.
okay. So my parents, my parents see it as being selfish. Even if it's a charity thing, it's a selfish thing, which is so, I don't know. it's such a weird thing because I do for things for charity and I'm like, hey, I'm raising money for this, and they'll donate. Well, here's
Yeah.
money for this, and then you're like, you know what else you can do to donate your time? Go to the hospital and volunteer. Okay,
Right.
okay, sorry, I could do that too. I'm sorry.
Wow.
So early on when I started streaming, and I was actually living with my grandmother because I was helping her with her finances after my grandfather passed away. I'd be streaming and I'd tell my grandma, I'm like, Grandma, I'm streaming. And dude, she's like, I don't care. This is my house. These people don't need to be looking into my house. Okay. Sorry. So sorry. So incredibly sorry I said anything.
Wow.
So yeah. That's where the rest of my family is that they know I do it, but they see it's like you should be using yourself as so much more. They're more supportive of me doing my podcast
Mhm.
than I am streaming. So
Wow.
Yeah, it's such a different thing. They do have to see this side of it because like we obviously have insight into this whole industry and we know the capability or we know the possibilities that are attached to it and the work we have to put in to make it happen. But I think that's all it is.
My family when I first started was the same way. And I'm struggling with my brother right now. That's who sent me the apology. And he was a big supporter, and now he is realizing that his big sister is not there at a moment's notice anymore, and her time is limited. And I think that's part of his problem because they're going through a lot of stuff right now in their personal life, and I'm his big sister. He needs his big sister to talk to, right? So I I can understand. It doesn't give him an excuse for being a douchebag, but I understand what's going on. But my parents were very much like DJ's parents at the beginning. They didn't understand it. They thought it was stupid. They didn't understand why. So I'm in the film industry. I do a lot of. I'm in the independent market here in Atlanta, but it's really hard to get on a Hollywood film set here unless you are doing background work, which I can do in a heartbeat. I can get work for that. It's all over the place. Or you are a production assistant, which is not what I do. I'm not in production. I'm in post-production. It's a different part of the process. Post-production is still sent back to LA. So my mom was constantly for the longest time saying, well, so-and-so's daughter got a job doing this. I'm like, what are they actually doing? Okay, that's not what is here in Atlanta, right? So what I do is actually in the independent world, and I actually do commissions for a lot of streamers now because, this is what I do a lot of now. And I did a stream with my mother on Black Friday because she was like, I want to go shopping on Black Friday, and I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not getting into that crap. And she said, nah, let's do it. And I said, okay, on one condition. And she said, what? I said, let me live stream it. And she said, okay, whatever. Completely changed her whole perspective on it. She got to see that I actually talk to people. She got to see the response from people. She got to see exactly how the setup is. And when I think I got like some bits or some donations or something, and she physically saw like that part of it, and she said, oh, okay, now I understand. Now she's completely supportive of it. She's buying me stuff, like she bought me a new camera for the stream to help help my stream get better. She's just completely did a 180 on it, and I was like, wow, I can't believe that's all it took. Now she's just like, yeah, heck yeah, my daughter does this is, and she loves hearing stories about Girl Streamers because
Yeah.
she loves
Yeah.
what we do for the community. Like, it's just completely changed her mind on it. And my dad's like, that's cool. You're doing what you went to school for. That's all I give a crap about. You know, he's like, my dad thinks it's cool too, but he's not as into it as my mom is. And so, yeah, she needed to see that see it actually happen, because they used to be like, much like DJ's family. And Mr. Nymph streams with me occasionally, so he loves it. He thinks it's great. We met in WoW, so he's a huge nerd. He loves it. He thinks it's great. He's sitting right there playing WoW as we speak. So, but yeah, that's me. That's my family. We're all weird and dysfunctional.
All families are weird and dysfunctional.
I'll trade you. Make my family do a 180. Asian families are hard. Comparisons all the time.
To wrap up this podcast that is now at 2 hours and 30 minutes, quickly, everybody, tell your Twitter and your Twitch. Quickly say it. Dead.
Twitter.com dead_mannequin and Twitch same dead_mannequin.
Carice?
I'm super excited to meet all you guys, by the way, like really excited. Tonight is making me even more excited that we're all going to actually get to hang out for a week. Breeze Hunter on Twitter, Breeze on Twitch, and all the Girl Streamer stuff.
Kiki?
Kid Nightmare across the board.
And DJ?
Miss DJM on everything. I make sure to make it really easy to stalk me. Just Miss DJM.
And
everything.
I'm Gamer Nymphadora on Twitter because I couldn't get Nymphadora, and I am Nymphadora1 on Twitch because Twitch will not give me Nymphadora. So, yeah. Anyway, we are going to close this lovely... Thank you. Yes, thank you. I'm glad you guys enjoyed this podcast. We are going to do a raid, so guys, stick around afterwards. But we are going to... I totally closed out the wrong thing. Crap.
Raid!
Hold up. I gotta do my closing.
Oh, hello!
I gotta do my closing.
Shh.
I'm gonna have to mute y'all. I gotta do my closing spiel. Shh.
Just got a raid.
Chill.
You're not the best. You're not the boss of my spring. You're not the boss of any of us. You're not the race.
Anyway, thank you guys so much
Baby
for joining GirlStreamers podcast. GirlStreamers is partnered with Loot Crate, Fresh Design, Simple Jerky, Human Racing Chairs, Glove Tom, and Sennheiser. Links to all these amazing partners are down below, so please feel free to click. Thank you guys for all your support. Please follow us on GirlStreamers at Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, and Player.me. If you have... Wow, that's a lot of social media. Anyway, if you have any questions or would like more information, you can visit our website at girlstreamers.com and contact us through there. You can subscribe to us on Twitch or GameWist. Don't forget, when you do, you get access to our Discord fan channel, and you can buy some super cool gear in our online shop at designedbyhumans.com/shop/girlstreamers. You can find all these lovely ladies streaming on their own channels. Dead Mannequin is dead_mannequin. That's DEA dead. DEAD_MANNEQUIN. Carice, that's CARIZE. Kink Nightmare is KINKEDNITEMARE. And Miss DJM is MISSDJM.
1, 2, 3.
Our next podcast will be July 8th with Maria, right here, same time. This podcast is a part of the Two Lazy Dogs Media Group and the Girl Streamers community. Encourage, support, grow. Okay, now we can do our raid. Okay, we good.
It's already on its way.
Perfect.
What?
Now we can do our raid. You guys have a great night. Bye-bye!